Hello and welcome back to GameStar Season 2 qualifiers for Heroes of the Storm. We're into a Week 4 Round 3 match between Nomia and TrumpSports, and while Nomia, they continue to go from strength to strength, blasting through the competition, and TrumpSports, they are on the precipice of making it into that upper echelon of the regional strength, or regional superiority, or the best team. They're getting there. They're, I think, currently third or fourth in the region, so they've continued to show strong performances, but they're just a little bit behind the top teams. But we'll have to see how they go here on Warhead Junction. And I completely messed up that intro, but okay, let's just get back into. Let's just get straight into the draft. It's going to be Tassadar first ban because it's not necessarily a pick you want to be picking up right off the bat, but it is still very strong that you don't really want to give it over to your opponents who can already line that up with another hero to pair with it quite well, like the Valor. So taking the Tassadar off right at the bat is very strong one to take away, and that's going to be the Zarya ban on the side of Nomia. Always a strong hero to supplement many different types of compositions. So we have to see where the first ban, or the first pick ends up going. We are on Warhead Junction, so globals do have a fair amount of priority. So wouldn't be too surprised to see something like the Falstad or the Dahaka picked up right off the bat, but I would think that if the Falstad does get picked up, or whichever one does get picked up, the other will be picked up by Nomia. So it is going to be the Dahaka picked up by TrumpSports. And I very much expect to see Nomia pick up the Falstad, unless they wanted to try and sort out some kind of composition very early on and try pick together some interesting duo that they might be trying out, but could very well just go for something like the Arthas and the Falstad. The Arthas has been very strong and and a pick favoured by Ben quite recently. Fat94 doing a lot of work on the Arthas. In the previous game they did pick it up, but it ended up going over to Robodoba, but still very strong in either of their hands. So there is going to be the Falstad picked up, that is going to be the global pressure sorted out, and there is the Arthas. So now it's going to be back over to TrumpSports. There's quite a few options still available. Might want to pick up their support, maybe the Malfurion, as that is still on the board and very strong, and you don't necessarily want to allow that to fall too much further in this draft. So unless you want to work towards a rather specific support pick, but Malfurion probably will end up getting picked up in this side, or in this portion of the draft, and then we'll have to see where they go with their other pick before the second ban phase. Maybe they want to start working towards their damage. It is going to be the Greymane. It was either going to be that, or maybe... Actually, I don't know what other options would be reasonable to take at this point in the game, other than some other kind of warrior that you really want to take away quite early, but it is going to be the Greymane wanting to pick up that before the second ban phase, so we'll have to see how this shapes up the rest of the draft. So it's already a very strong combinations on both sides of the draft. Nomia already getting the Falstad and the Arthas, very strong in the hands of the Nomia players, and on the other side, the Dahaka, the Greymane, and the Malfurion, very strong heroes. And we'll have to see how they round out that composition as we get through this draft. We're waiting for the next ban to come out from Nomia. We'll probably see some kind of tank taken away, maybe take away something like the Diablo, or maybe just go towards something like the Li Ming, try and take away that very reliable mage, or it's actually going to be the Gul'dan that they're going to take away, not wanting to allow that to go over. A very strong mage, has a decent amount of wave clear, but on a map like Warhead Junction, the wave clear is not necessarily what is highly or valued the most, but still can get a lot of work done, and they do not want to see TrumpSports pick that one up, so they just take that one off the board. And now we're over to TrumpSports to see what they want to take away. There's still quite a bit available for Nomia, and they still have quite a bit of flexibility with how they want their team composition to go. They'll probably want another warrior to sit on the front line alongside the Arthas. Could very well be the Leoric that we've been seeing quite a bit recently. They'll also want another damage dealer and also their support. TrumpSports are going to take away the Tracer, not wanting Ben or Fat94 to take that one up because he's been very strong on that hero quite some time now. So I have to see what they end up going towards because there's quite a few options as I mentioned. So it could very well go towards something like the Lucio or the Rhaegar in terms of support, and maybe even something like the Li Ming to supplement the amount of damage coming out from the far side, just so you have the two different styles of damage and do a fair amount of work in poking away when trying to take those nuclear warheads. But we'll have to see which direction they end up going towards. Maybe they'll want to pick up their warrior right now just to try and hold off on that damage pick for the last pick in case they want to try and go for some kind of counter. But it is going to be the Lucio and the Li Ming. And now we'll probably have to wait for the very last pick to see that secondary warrior. Could very well just be a Muradin for Robodoba or even a Nubrak depending on how this last pick goes. Or even a Johanna to be honest, because you have quite a few options available. But now onto TrumpSports' last couple of picks. We'll have to see how they round up this composition. They'll probably want another tank. As I mentioned, there could be the Diablo. Could also be something like the Johanna or the Nubrak, depending on what they feel is going to be most necessary to help out their composition. They could even go for a triple warrior composition right here. Maybe pick up the Nubrak and maybe also the Tyrael, because we've seen triple warrior compositions come out on Abraxas Warhead Junction, and they can do a fair amount of work against some of the more damage light compositions. But on the side of Nomia, they have a decent amount of damage, so I'm not sure how that would entirely work out, but we'll have to see what TrumpSports end up going with. It's actually going to be the Kalthas, so that's a decent amount of damage coming out from them. With the Kalthas and the Greyman, that is going to be the Anubarak picked up to finish off that, so they have a rather beefy front line with the Dahaka and the Anubarak. They should be okay to handle a lot of that magic damage coming out from the Li Ming, so we'll have to see how they play around that, as Nomia are now getting to the last pick. And we could very well just see them default back to the Muradin that has been so very successful for them in the past, and that would still very much be a very, very solid composition for Nomia that they've played very well in the past, and they should be very comfortable on. Unless they want to go for something a little different. I mean, they could even go for the Tyrael at this point. It does have the magic armor to at least handle the Kalthas a little bit better, but it's actually going to be the Zagara. Okay, so they want to go a little bit Chinese with their strategies. I mean, China is very much liking the Zagara, especially once it gets to level 10. They get the Nidus network and can be a real nuisance around the map, and just the split push pressure can be so very annoying. But I'll have to see how they manage to play this out, because they don't necessarily have the best of engages. They're going to have to be relying on Lucio speed boosting and Arthas to try and work something together. But we'll have to see how it goes, because very interesting composition coming out of Nomia. A rather solid composition coming out from TrumpSports, but when it comes down to it, Nomia have shown to be very strong regardless of the composition that they put together. They just know how to play the map so very well. We'll just have to see how it works here on Warhead Junction. Alrighty, on the blue side we have Nomia, we have Fat94 on the Zagara, we have Robodoba on the Arthas, Vanilla on Lucio, Arcana on Falstad, and John on the Li Ming. And on the red side we have TrumpSports, we have KVA on the Anubarak, The Shadow on Malfurion, Jim Jam on Kalthas, Lahal on Greymane, and it is Deuces on the Dahaka. We'll have to see how this game goes, because this is some rather interesting compositions coming out from both sides. I mean, it's a rather solid one coming out from TrumpSports, more standard, I guess you could say, but On the side of Nomia, the Zagara really does throw a bit of a wrench into what would otherwise be a quite straightforward composition, but just see how they played as Fan94 is already starting out on the top side of the map. He's got the speed is reducing cooldown and infested drop, so wanting to get those roachlings to be a real nuisance, start taking a bit of damage or dealing a bit of damage to the structures, and be very fine in the solo lane as we do have a bit of an engage coming up. It looks like they're trying to get something happening, but it looks like they're not able to get too much done as Villain does get knocked up, but he is a Lucio, and with the let me try it again. He has the Accelerando to help himself be much more mobile around the map. There's a lot of walls to work with, moving around the map on Warhead Junction, so he'll be very safe and could be very quick and mobile around the map. As they do get a bit of engage on the middle lane. Lahal taking a lot of damage. He does avoid the stun, but it's not going to be enough. He is going to get taken down. That's going to be first blood going over to Nomia. Already a good start for them. But now on the bottom side, he's taking a bit of damage, but he should be okay. He will be able to sustain himself, and they're just going to mitigate a lot of the pressure coming out on the side of TrumpSports. They will be okay to deal with that, as on the top side, it's going to be rather awkward for Deuces to actually deal with this Zagari. Doesn't necessarily work or deal all that well with ranged matchups in the 1v1, but will be able to sustain himself quite well and at least mitigate some of the pressure that the Zagara is posing. But as we do have two warheads coming out early in the game, it's going to be one in the middle lane and one in the top. So the Zagara will have a lot of control on top side of the map. Deuces is trying to go back to base. This will give the Zagara the room to try and take this warhead for free, but in the middle lane is going to be one that's probably going to be a little bit more contested, as Lahal is starting to work his way towards it. Is going to be able to force him away from it, as I say that Deuces is going to be contesting the top one. He does manage to get in there in time, but he's going to get poked down just next to the auto attack harass coming out from the Zagara. It's very obnoxious to deal with. Oh, the Lucio does get caught out, and that's going to be the kill going over to the side of TrumpSports, and this should allow them to get at least this warhead. But John on the Ming does turn up just in time. They will be able to poke him away. They do get the root down onto the Arthurs, but aren't going to be able to get it, as they do manage to lock down the Li Ming, and that's enough damage, and they do take down the Li Ming. That's a nice kill coming out for TrumpSports. There is going to be another kill, and that should finally secure that warhead for them. But on the top side, we did have Arcana fly up to at least secure the top one for them. So that's going to be a bit of a, that's just going to be a trade of warheads, but a nice couple of kills coming out for TrumpSports, but they're still going to be a little bit behind when it comes to experience, and now they're trying to take down Mr. Haki. He did use the burrow, and with the warhead dropping those two towers, he doesn't have much of the defense. It is going to be the fault there to walk behind, to crawl behind, but he has been dropped extremely low, and Arcana is just going to at least hold the lane while the Zagara goes back to get a lot of his mana back. But as we see on the bottom side of the map, it looks like they're trying to take down Robodova. They don't manage to get the position to lock him down, and he does manage to back himself away, but almost in a bit of an awkward position. But the speed boost does help him out. Back to the top side of the map, that before he's dropped very low. Looks like Arcana could very well just walk up there and throw a boomerang at it and just blow that up. But already a very strong start from Nomia, but they did manage to give up those couple of kills, as there is a bit of a gank attempt. The Impale doesn't land. Arcana is able to keep on juking and jiving. He isn't going to have the barrel roll just yet. He is going to just fly away. He just waited for the tongue grab to try and get him. He dodged it, and then he was free to try and get himself out of there. So a very nice play coming out from Arcana, managing to keep himself alive. Bit of a failed gank attempt, but still quite an even game so far. To see how the rest of the game plays out. Lahal is going to go back. He's quite low after trying to take that camp. They do end up getting it, but to see, he's just going to be running right into the Zagara, who should be able to deal with it quite well. Whereas this Dahaka has been dropped quite low thanks to just the harass coming up from the Zagara. It's very obnoxious to deal with, as it does have the Medusa Blades, which will help with the pushing. And Massacre, it's going to be very hard for the Dahaka to even do anything, as we do have a bit of engage on the bottom, on the middle of the map. They're trying to get in onto Robodova on the Arthas, but they're not able to lock him down. So he's able to walk away, and especially with Arcana just above them, helping out. Meanwhile, that port did go down on the top side, so Bang is just going to be keep on pushing. And that is going to force the Dahaka all the way back. He cannot play too far up, especially when he doesn't have any structure to walk back to. Now on the bottom side of the map, the Nubrak is taking quite a lot of damage. from the Liming and the Arthas. And Vanilla's actually taking a fair bit in return, but he will be quite fine to just to sing himself back to health, and they're just going to keep on putting down a lot of these structures. They're going to grab some of the towers. They are starting to expand this experience lead. They're already about halfway through level 10, through towards level 10. They might want to get this before they get towards the next warhead phase. It is a lot of warheads on the board, but it looks like they're trying to sneak away these bosses. No knowledge on the side of TrumpSports that this is going to be a play coming out from Nomia, but they're just going to be trying to stall as Robert Over and Vanilla are trying to get very aggressive onto the Dark. The Tongue Lash does go in onto the Lucio, but he's going to get out of there. They're not really paying too much attention to him as Lahal is trying to grab that warhead, and now they're starting to work their way towards it. On the bottom side, Jim Jam will be able to pick up this. Actually, he's not going to be able to, as the threat of the Laming poke is enough to force him away. And throughout all of that, the boss does get an uptaken, and Fat94 will also pick up this warhead. So in the end, it is going to be 1-to-1 in terms of the warheads, as the sound barrier does get dropped and they're trying to go even more forward. They do have heroics, whereas it's only level 9 on the side of TrumpSports. They're trying to take down the Dahaka, who is very low. The healing is just not there. The adaptation is not there because he's not level 10 yet. That's going to be another, or at least one falling on the side of TrumpSports, and should allow the rest of the members to keep on pushing. Actually, on the top side of the map, they're just going to keep on pushing with this boss. They use the nuke to do a fair bit of damage to the structures. Now, Kano and Fat are just trying to keep on pushing. They are going to use a nuke just to defend the base. Fat94 is going to be returning back to base, as Arcania is going to be flying towards the middle of the map. And it looks like it was another nuke that ended up going over to the side of Nomia. I think they managed to pick up that one on the bottom side after that one fight. So in the end, it did end up going very much in favor of Nomia. Even though they were down a man, they were able to play those fights on the bottom side of the map quite well, and well enough that they were able to not only get all those advantages on the top side of the map, that they were able to win out on the bottom side as well, and even get even more of the nukes, as Rebadova in rotation is going to get caught out. He's taking a fair bit of damage. Miller does come in, but he's just not going to be able to get there in time, as Rebadova is going to get taken down. And Lucio is going to be the next target, but he is going to be able to get himself away there. And as it's pretty much on the way there, they are starting on the boss. Mighty Gust is going to be available for the file state. It's going to be very risky. Jim Jam does get the gravity lapse onto the file state, but he's not going to be forced away just yet. They are still working on the boss. It's going to be very risky. He's going to be having to be very careful, as they are going to take it down. I'm not sure if they want to keep it going. They are just going to let it happen. They are not going to try and use the Gust to try and secure a steal or anything. So that boss is going to go over to the side of TrumpSports. Nomia feel very comfortable that they will be able to defend it at least. So very cautious play on the side of Nomia, but a nice capitalization on the pick from the side of TrumpSports, using that kill onto Robodova, transitioning that straight into the boss. Absolutely no hesitation. Very nicely played, as we do have an attempt at a gank here in the middle lane. Hannah does get the impale, but he is just going to have to back away now that Robodova has turned up. But on the bottom side, they are able to deal with the boss fairly well. It only took down the two outer towers. They should be able to save this fort. We see on the top side, they're trying to get in onto Robodova. He does get locked down just a little bit. He does have the army of the dead to keep himself sustained. Now they're trying to split the targets. Arcana is taking a fair bit of damage from Lahal. He's trying to back himself away. He does have to use the Gust to keep himself alive. Meanwhile, on the top side of the fight, Robodova is still very healthy and able to keep the fight going, as we see them just start to back away, and but they're trying to just push in on the middle lane now. Members of TrumpSports, as we do have split pressure coming out from the members of Nomia. They do use the sound barrier to keep John alive. He is going to have to use a disintegration mode to at least apply some pressure, as the Phoenix does come out, and they're going to start backing themselves away. KB taking a little bit of damage from Li Ming, but should be okay, as we do have two more warheads coming out soon. John is still holding on to one of them for a rainy day, as Deuces is going to get caught out. Arcana flying up just in behind the Dahaka to manage to pick him off, as very nice clean kill coming out at a really good time as the warheads are becoming available. We do have that coming to the bottom side of the map. We do have Lahal getting this warhead for free, but on the top side, it's just going to be another one going over to Vanilla, so it's just going to be another trade of Warheads. But in the end, it's still very much in favor of Nomia. They ended up taking down the top forwards, or the top keep, so that will be a constant source of pressure for TrumpSports to have to deal with. And now we see a 2-level lead on the side of Nomia. They're starting to really extend this lead and really get into a position where it's very hard for the members of TrumpSports to get out of this. Vanilla is skirting with danger, does manage to get himself out of there. He was flirting with danger, but managed to avoid the potential gank. He's keeping himself safe. They don't have the most reliable of lockdown on the side of TrumpSports, but if they're able to start that chain going, they can very well lock anyone down on the side of Nomia. Trying to get really aggressive onto the side of Nomia. They do get a little bit of damage onto John, but he will be able to teleport himself away. Trying to return some damage, but it's just not really doing all that much. But on the top side of the map, there's a lot of camps coming out into the base of TrumpSports. They're going to have to deal with this, but this is just giving the advantage over to Nomia, so they can play very aggressive around the map. They're going very far forward. KVA trying to dive forward to take down Vanilla, but in the end it's going to be Robodope who ends up just sitting in the front and just doing a lot of keep away and helping the Lucio get out of there scot-free. Again, we have Fat94 and Arcana on the top side of the map taking this boss, and I think we start to see TrumpSports have a bit of an idea that this could be going on, but Vanilla, forever being the nuisance on the Lucio, is going to just force, well, at least it delayed them a little bit, and it looks like they are starting to work their way towards the top side of the map. They know that it's been going on. It looks like they're trying to get in onto Vanilla. As they look like they're almost taken down, the sound barrier does get used, and Lahal is going to be the first one to go down. The Grey Main is down. That's a lot of the consistent damage out of the fight. Vanilla is still alive and is able to help the team. The Ancestral goes down, but they're not able to finish off anyone just yet. And here comes the resets from John. They do take down all of the members on the side of TrumpSports, and with the clean ace coming out for Nomia, and with the open base on the side of TrumpSports, that could very well just be the game right there. They tried the boss, and it did draw the members of TrumpSports towards it. In the end, they just took the fight and ended up taking the game with it. They do have a nuke to work with, and very well done to Nomia. It was a bit of a back and forth at the start, but in the end, just a very clean fight at the end to finish it off. So very well done to Nomia, going to 3-0 on the day.